What it do, y'all? This is your boy Sherry Speaks. I'm gonna talk to you guys about the Flash season 5, episode 3, The Death of Vibe. And I gotta be honest with you, man. Like everyone else at first, when I first heard of the title, my fucking heart kind of stopped a little bit because I thought it was gonna be, oh shit, they gotta take Cisco out the game for good. Like nope, like thank God it wasn't the case. Because even though I will say that climactic scene where Cicada and Cisco are just like alone and kind of Cicada is like kicking Cisco's ass though, I did get a little nervous there. I thought it was over for him. But I did like this episode, and so I'm gonna give it a strong 9.5. I'm only gonna say a half because Sherlock Wells kind of creeped me out a little bit. And it's not so much his personality; it's the way he uses his deductive reasoning. His powers of deduction is what I'll call it, or his pod is what I'll say, because it's almost like he kind of deliberately like wants to creep you out and he wants to find some simple things out, about the person. Because we saw how his introduction was with each character. With Barry, he was able to like figure out like certain little nuances he does. He found out that Iris, removed like a former tattoo she had of like a former lover, as he said. He noticed that Nora had a very similar body language to her mother. All kinds of things, and then we only got introduced to Sherlock Wales because of the French Wales. He said, "Look, since I can't really help you guys because I'm busy with my own shit, I got this next guy. Like he's the best in the multiverse." So they presented him with that. Another thing I want to talk about really is just how the breakdown of Cicada's history by Nora. She said pretty much everyone in the whole DC multiverse went after this guy, and no one was successful, at least from her time. I mean, even Oliver Queen took a swing at him. Because, for the first, she named all metahumans. Not and everybody was just unsuccessful. Even Oliver caught him once, but he must have got away somehow. And so I'm really wondering how the hell did he get away from Oliver? I wonder since Oliver is not a meta, he's just a trained assassin pretty much. And another thing I want to talk about is just how I like how Rolf's character has developed in this. I can tell his character is gonna be more involved in this season. And his character is gonna keep developing because we saw how heartfelt and how passionate he was about helping Kaylee figure out where her father is and what happened to him. Because you can obviously see, just from last week when Cisco vibed, what they found on him, that her mother was sitting there crying pretty much, and we all know that her mother most likely forged, her father's death certificate because and it's to my knowledge because back when I was studying criminal law and things of that nature, whenever someone dies, there's an official death certificate, time of death and things of that nature. It really wasn't on time Thomas Snow's certificate at all, at least from just based off of the information we're given. And also, it isn't a crime to actually fake your death. I actually didn't know that until doing a little research of that. But we see just how the interaction between Caitlyn and her mother is still very sour. Even Rolf was sitting back and Caitlyn and her mother were interacting with each other. Her mother, in usual fashion, is very snooty and very defensive. Because granted, if her father, died, of natural causes or whatever, was like really, really sick, you wouldn't be so damn defensive, right? I mean, even if the certificate wasn't a hoax, so that prompts Dibney and Caitlin to actually sneak into her mother's company at night to retrieve her father's file because I believe her parents worked together before his death. And what we would discover is Caitlin had a flourish of memories of her and her father. The games that they would play. Her Caitlin, kind of touched on that a little bit, saying, "Listen, a lot of the times, my father he would, whenever he would try to teach me like the periodic tables, we would actually create our own little system of talking with each other and things of that nature, and look at constellations. And he would teach me. He taught me a lot about science and life." All right, but so as Caitlin, as the episode goes on, we actually saw right before the ending goes, Caitlin starts to decipher the code that her father gave to her. And the message reads, "Caitlin, come find me." And we see a pan out of where her father's pretty much been keeping eyes on her for the past 25 years from the looks of it. And I'm like, what the hell? Like you see all these damn screens, and it's almost like he either went under some form of like deep cover, deep shadow operation or some kind of stuff like that. I don't know why he's been spying on his daughter like that. Maybe he actually had to. Maybe because he knows so much about something that's illegal and people are after him. Maybe that's why he had to pretty much fake his death so then that way he could protect his family. And it makes a lot of sense. I mean, Parents have to do that, unfortunately. But within the episode, we saw Sherlock Holmes give us the first known knowledge of Cicada. His name, I believe his name was, I believe it's Harrison something. I'm sorry, I can't remember his name right now. It was just at the tip of my tongue. But Sherlock says, "All right, look, this is where you'll find him. This is his name, and so forth." So Barry and Nora think that they got him, and it turns out that's not actually the case. In fact, it could just be a straw man name, actually, or a pseudonym, if you will. Because we saw at the very end of the episode, well, that Cicada went to visit his sick daughter named Orland, and even the doctor said, "Look, you need to stop doing this to yourself," because he saw a huge rip on his chest, flourished with lightning, and even before then, we see him actually go after Joe because he actually questioned Joe after going to the library and looking up and researching about Vibe, Cisco Ramon. So he goes over to Joe, tries to scare him like Detective Joseph West. So do you know where Vibe is? Joe's like he's stalling him pretty much like, hey, listen, I don't know Vibe, I don't know the guy. He just helps us up. He just helps the CCPD out with crime sometimes. I don't have a Vibe cell phone, so I can't get in contact with him, right? So Cecile comes down because she, wakes up from her slumber, knowing, this very anxious feeling, So she wakes up and she sees Cicada, and okay. All right, so then we learned a little bit more about Cicada and things of that nature, and it's only when after Cicada, invades and things of that nature. In fact, when he actually is questioning and attacks Joe and Cecile, no one else is really around. Cisco's the only one, so he vibes to Joe's house to try to stop him. But then that's when he actually takes Cisco, and that's when we get to what I was mentioning in the very beginning of the video, where it's a climactic battle between the two of them, where Cisco's pretty much running for his fucking life in a damn dark ass forest. I mean, that's the worst damn thing you can actually do. So it's up to Sherlock to actually, deduct, you know, okay, where is Cisco? Because they don't have their satellite, so they can't really ping his location. And so Sherlock's like, okay, look, check this out, Cisco. I know you're running right now, but you need to shut the hell up so I can listen to the damn crickets, the damn cicadas. Okay, type in these keywords of certain trees, pine and ashwood, and you'll be able to triangulate pretty much, narrow the search of where Cisco could be. So they end up finding it. And so Barry runs there. We see his powers actually dampen and go away because it's Cicada's dagger. I mean, that's his main source. That's what he normally does. He just dampens a person's, a metahuman's power. In fact, when he's beating the shit out of Barry, and I mean, he's really beating the shit out of the guy. He literally says, "Look, this is now. I've waited for like there's so many damn years, man, where people actually just tolerate metahumans. Now I'm gonna actually kill a motherfucker. I'm gonna kill these motherfuckers." So he gets ready to do it, but then Nora, while she's back at Star Labs, she remembers, she recalls what her father taught her. He said, "Look, you can't always learn everything all at once. It's like a ladder. You can't just skip over steps." And she's actually in flash time doing this, mind you. And she remembers what her father told her. And so she says, "All right, look, Mom, I got a plan to get Dad, to help Dad and everyone else." So she goes there and she throws lightning, but then she also throws like this combustible bomb, and it actually injures Cisco. I think Cisco actually disappears, where he goes through. He actually it's actually a makeshift breach, if you will, because Cisco can't use his powers. It hurts to even use it. We saw that when he tried to pretty much vibe blast Cicada. He split his hand open. So he ended up anyway. The explosion ended up breaking Cisco's arm, or I guess you could say separating his shoulder, because based off of I'm suspecting that I'm assuming that's what it is because based off of the type of sling that Cisco had. And so at the very end of the episode, what I realized is Sherlock asks Nora because they went out for like a celebration family dinner. The Irish West, the West Island family for the first time. Sherlock asks Nora, so Nora, being that you going back to the past, to certain family events, you're with your family and things of that nature, and you punched a satellite to save your father and Central City. That's your crowning achievement. Is it you who thought of that idea? And you see Nora kind of get like this really nervous look and body language, about her. She's like, yeah. He's like, in Charles, he plays it off. He's like, yeah, no, yeah. Of course you did. Of course you thought about that. I'm just joshing you. I'm just kidding with you. Sorry, I didn't mean to make you nervous. Because mind you, she was looking for a person to go out to the family dinner with Barry and Iris. But and I think this is why, because I remember reading up on Sherlock Wells's personality, and people said, at first Team Flash isn't gonna really like the guy. They're gonna be really suspect about him. And now I understand why, because like I mentioned before, his being that he's such a good detective, and mind you, they actually had to pay Sherlock to do services, which is kind of complete bullshit. And first for the Team Flash, because a lot of the other incarnations of Harrison Wells, do their shit for free. But anyway, and again, another aspect of the main aspect of Sherlock's personality is his deductive reasoning, like the way he breaks down shit, being that he's a famous detective. The questions he asks are very pointed, are very direct, almost too damn direct. Because the question he asked Nora literally made her shaking her damn boots, like made her fucking sweating, like she was being interrogated for like a damn murder or some shit. So I'm really wondering just why the hell would he ask her that question, as if he knows something that we don't know. So I hope we get a continuation of that next week or sometime within the mid season of this season, because I'm really curious now. And I also want to know what the hell is up with Thomas Snow. Why the hell did you desert your family after so many damn years? Or 20 years for that matter. I mean, because we saw Caitlyn last season, literally, see, we get a flashback of Killer Frost when she first originated. And she was like a little kid, and it was like a car accident. So I'm wondering, was the car accident staged in order to fake his death, most likely? But because he gave while Caitlin was looking through her father's files, she realized that he had a letter titled "Goodbye" for her. So then that's when she was able to decode his last message for her, which is "Come find me, Caitlin. Caitlin, come find me." So I really look forward to seeing what how as the season progresses to see what goes down. This has been your boy Share Speaks. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you guys like the video and subscribe to the channel. If you guys have any requests as to what videos you guys would like me to do next, just feel free to let me know in the comment section below. They're always welcome. They always will be. This has been your boy Share Speaks. Peace and love, people.